All right, welcome everybody. We have some pretty exciting news here at Brisbane Motorcycles. I can finally announce that Brisbane Motorcycles has partnered up with three-time Australian champion and all-round legend Dean Ferris. Dean, how you going, mate?
Good, mate. So excited for this year and this opportunity with James, yourself, Brisbane Motorcycles. Good times ahead, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and also in studio we've got owner of Brisbane Motorcycles, James Mutton, mate. How you going?
Not bad, mate. Not bad at all.
All right, so let's address the elephant in the room. Dean, you're back. What has motivated you to return in 2023 with this lunatic?
Well,
Go easy. I pay your wages, brother.
Yeah. Mate, I know. It's like a bad joke now that I've retired twice and I'm coming back twice, both for different reasons. First time I had an injury. Last time I was just super burnt out. Like the end of last season, didn't even want to look at a bike. Went on a big holiday and, 4 months later, I was like, just woke up myself. I'm like, mate, I actually would love to do it again, but I want to do it a little bit different. And James and I had touched a little bit in that time with a few different...
Not physically.
Not
just to clarify.
Yeah, we had been in touch about some different business ventures anyway. So he was on the back of my mind, and when I wanted to return racing, I definitely wanted to do it on a Yamaha, and it just worked out. I gave James a call, and within the first 10 seconds, he's like, "I'm in," and I'm like, "You don't even know the details, dude." So
doesn't matter.
He didn't know the details. He just said, "I just know we're going to have a good time," and that's exactly why I called him, because I've just been watching what he's done in the last years with his business and, how he's doing it, and kind of just wanted to be a part of it too. So it's the long and the short of it. That's how it happened.
All right, and James, how did this connection with Dean come to be? Where did it begin?
How did I meet Dean? Is that what you're asking?
That's exactly right.
I can't even remember the actual first time we met. I've got one vivid memory. First time, Germany, 2013. MX of Nations. I feel like that sticks in my mind as the first time. But
I reckon we were just maybe at a Coolum Club Day. We were there practicing a few times. We had like a mutual friend, and then we ended up. But anyway, we were both at Europe at the same time, right?
In Germany, that's the one that I remember. But I was racing bikes in Europe at the same time, road bikes. And mutual friend, met Dean, kind of just kept in contact loosely on and off over the years and followed each other's progress and journeys in what we do. And it kind of just reconnected, I feel like, in the last 12 months, and sort of approached Dean about some of the things that we do at the dealership and how we're trying to, be a bit of a pioneer of the industry and bring back sort of passion and good deeds, I feel, for the industry. And that resonated with Dean, and, one thing led to another. And next thing you know, we're founding a Brisbane Motorcycles Yamaha motocross team. So
let's go back to Germany. I don't know if you remember, James.
Let's not go back.
I've heard this story. This is a good one.
No, I don't think you have. I feel like you kind of owe me, James, because we did the Motocross of Nations and you were like part of our crew that weekend.
I was, yes.
Yeah, at the Motocross Nation. Anyway, we camped out Sunday night. We all got up like super early Monday morning. You were shooting back to England, and you had a Renault Traffic.
I did.
As a vehicle,
I
and
did.
the thing wouldn't start.
No, it wouldn't.
But
that's the least of my worries. But it wouldn't stop either. Had no brakes.
I knew how to get the thing going because I also had the same vehicle, and I had troubles with it that year. And there's this one time in France it wouldn't start, and I had to get towed all the way back to Belgium. Long story short, but I primed his vehiel with the diesel pump.
We got it going.
And just sent you on your way back.
I could
to
still
England.
be there, mate.
You could be.
I could have a German wife, a few kids.
So I feel like
my life took a very different route that day
because of that.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
So as we touched on, you've teamed up with Yamaha again for 2023. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I've bounced around the traps a little bit over the last few years, and in hindsight, probably should never have left. I literally bleed blue, I'm sure. And there's just something about Yamaha, the core value of the bike or whatever it is. Because I think I cut my teeth on it when I was younger. And for whatever reason, me and the bike just click. No matter what model it is, what year, what era, I seem to be able to ride the bike really well. So if I'm going to come back racing, I'm going to do it properly. And I feel like the best thing I could do is ride a Yamaha. So it was a no-brainer. So when I rang James, knowing that he has every different brand under his umbrella, it was going to be a Yamaha, Brisbane Motorcycles Yamaha.
Perfect. And the all-new 2023, have you ridden it?
I have ridden the 2023.
How is it?
Amazing. And I don't even really need to be the one to tell you that. We just seen Tomac smash everyone at A1, but I got it just before Christmas and was instantly in love with it. I mean, I would have been anyway because the Yamaha, the old model was good. The older model before that was really good. But this one, it went on a bit of a diet, so it slimmed down quite a bit and still feels like Yamaha, but they just keep getting better and better technology, this and that and the other. And I love it, man. It's not far from stock, and I feel like I'm going all right on it.
Awesome. All right, so we'll transition to James here. Explain BMC's role, Brisbane Motorcycles' role in Dean's program this year. Kind of give us more light on what it is.
Yeah, so like touched on just earlier, Dean contacted me, broke the news that he wasn't done. He wanted to come back, and we obviously have the Yamaha franchise within our company and group. So initially it was just like, oh, can you get me some bikes? And I was like, yes. Like, I don't care if I have to pay for them myself, whatever we need to do. Like, it's, partnering with in my opinion, the best rider in Australia. It's a dream come true for a small family-owned dealership business like Brisbane Motorcycles. So, yeah, we were in for bikes initially, and then as the sort of program developed, we've used some of our contacts. We've got some great industry partners that really support my business and the Brisbane Motorcycles brand. And when I told them the news, that what we were planning on doing with Dean, they've jumped in, sort of big support from Fox, big support from Modal and our friends at Link. They really helped out. So I've sort of played a bit of not really a management role because I haven't really done that much, but just utilizing our contacts, pooling our resources together with Dean and coming up with a package that I think we've just hand selected, the best of the best. What can we do to add value to Dean's program? And Dean sort of approached us with the same kind of ethos. So it's worked out. It's crazy how easy it actually came together. Not to downplay the effort that's gone into making it happen, but I feel like it just clicked.
Yeah, we worked together on that one. James is obviously got a big franchise, and there was products that I wanted that worked for him, worked for me, and you did do a bit of a management role with some parts, and me being in the industry for a while now as well. A little bit different to when I was privateer and I was 18 years old.
Yeah,
I've built relationships with a lot of these importers and stuff as well, so it felt quite easy to do. And all of the products, like you mentioned, is just kind of hand selected. If I'm going racing and I'm 32 now, it's like I know what I want, I know what I think I need, and it worked for Brisbane Motorcycles as well.
Yeah, well, I suppose someone of Dean's caliber, heaps of experience, doesn't exactly need a lot of management. Knows what he wants. He knows what parts he wants. Just put it on the bike, and he'll like it. That's what he's not searching. Knows exactly what he wants, kind of thing.
Yep.
And so, give us more of an idea, Dean, of what this year's going to look like. What sort of structure, what races, all the nationals, kind of thing. Give us a rundown on what you're planning.
Yeah, I'm going all in as I always have. It'll be all the state level stuff, Queensland stuff. Kind of any of the big internationals at the start of the middle of the year, and then the nationals. So definitely all in, and a little bit different for me. I've always done it out of Kyogle in the past in northern New South Wales, just on my farm there. But I've got a young family. My oldest girl is starting school now, and we really wanted her to go to school at Sunny Coast, and my wife's originally from there. So we kind of we've moved up there. That's our base, and it actually works really good for. It's like a hub of motocross, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
all the state level races are around me.
Yeah.
And also, it had to change a little bit. I had to do something a little bit better than I've always done if I want to reach a higher level.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool there. I've got people to ride with, and they're just down the road. There's plenty of tracks around. I always had tracks in Kyogle, and it was never a problem. That was always cool. But I didn't want to drag the kids out to the track and just be put on the sideline while Renee is pitboarding. So I wanted my family to make sure they have family time, do fun stuff that kids want to do, and not just be at a track, because it's definitely my passion. So doing it out of Sunshine Coast, and I think it's going to be really good for us.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of fast guys up in Queensland, Sunny Coast Way. We've got Luke Clout's just moved up as well, so it's going to be
Yeah,
pretty...
it seems like most of Paddock is up there. I don't practice with too many people, just one or two, but that is one or two more than I've ever practiced with before, because I've always just done it by myself in Kyogle, just with Renee, and I'm fine doing that. But it is nice for a bit of a sea change for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So James, explain from your side what your kind of plan this year is between Dean and the shop, like any events, what sort of the plan for this year?
Yeah, well, I think initially it was we just wanted to be involved. So I didn't have any plan at all. It was just like, that seems like a good idea. I'm in.
Yeah.
We'll worry about the rest later. But, it's sort of been in the pipeline for 2 months now. We've been working on it, and it seems like almost every day we're in contact, and like plans get better, So last year we put a big effort into, again, really trying to give back to the motorcycle community. We started running some charity events and whatnot, and those have been hugely successful. So Dean actually came to our last charity event where we rode from Woodford to Imbil. Loved it. So Dean's definitely going to be a part of those charity events moving forward. So if you're on an enduro bike, keep an eye out for that, because they'll be fun.
Yeah,
and it's a hell of a time, hey?
Yeah, heaps of fun.
A lot, too much, some would say.
Yeah, so pretty much I've got some questions, Dean, that I think everyone wants some answers to. So throughout your career, you've pretty much been a ghost in the industry. Like when you were dominating, no one knew where you were. You were just in Kyogle, grinding. Give us more of an insight of what your inner circle looks like and how someone reaches your level of success.
Yeah, so my inner circle is quite small. I'd say it's got smaller and smaller over the years. Just as I've grown as an athlete, you don't need too many people around. You know what you got to do, know how to do it, and definitely don't need motivation.
Yeah.
If you got the goal in mind and know the process. But yeah, just a few key people really. My wife's a big supporter, has been for a long time. She's my rock, and then with my trainer Guy Andrew, who's been 10 years running with him now. My osteo Adam, he's always there for good support, for my sports psychology as well.
Yeah.
So definitely, and then technicians, but just core people that I can call on. Like I could call James about something. You know what I mean? So, but beyond that, it's as you grow, you need less and less, and just make sure you get more of the good advice.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what's that second half of that question?
What does it take really to reach your level of success for a young kid looking up? I want to be Dean Ferris.
Okay.
Tell him what he's got to do.
And then just I guess what it takes, just a lot of commitment. You know what I mean? With a long-term goal in mind. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you show up every single day with a goal in mind, and put your ego aside and just work on you and just keep trying to improve, it's pretty much inevitable that you'll definitely get somewhere in your career. Obviously need a bit of luck and need some good advice. That's the biggest thing I could mention, is you just get really good advice.
So touching on that, with all the recent success, we've had a lot of young guys go over to Europe. We've had the Lawrence brothers. Mitch Evans is over there at the moment. Jed Beaton's just done a stint and he's now actually back. But I haven't really heard much about how you got over there. Give us a bit more, like your transition to Europe. Who got you over there? How did it come about?
Yeah, so I had a goal to get to the world stage and see how good I could get. Even had a goal of being a world champion. That's past now, but it was really tough because after Reed and McFarlane in the early 2000s, there was like this massive gap for years that there was no Australian rider going to Europe. So like when I was knocking on the door, I'm pretty sure they didn't even know where Australia was on the map, you know what I mean? So I was pretty fortunate that I got a breakthrough. It was Ben Townley noticed my skill level here in Australia, and he said, hey, if you ever want to do something, reach out. Got his email, he got me in touch with a guide to get over there, and then I had to keep just showing up in Europe and keep trying to do rides and things until people were like, oh, hey, you keep coming back if you want to ride with us. So yeah, that took that was like a 2-year process to make that happen, and then got a breakthrough with a privateer 450 team in 2012, and that's where it started. So that year was the results were dismal, but it was it was good enough to get noticed for the next year and got a good ride in MX2 on a factory Yamaha.
Yeah.
But man, the experience was really cool. Like my first year, the riding wasn't that good, but I mean, just going to Europe as a young fella, having a good time, and just opening your eyes to all these different cultures and just soaking it all in. And the experiences, when I look back on it, like my first year was definitely my favourite year there in Europe. It was a really good time. But
And how old would you have been?
I was 21. I was 21, yeah. And then I went,
What a life.
yeah.
Well, you would have been the same, mate, in Europe racing
20.
road bikes at 20.
20 years old, never lived out of home, dropped off at the airport, straight to England in February.
Oh, man.
My life, just like as I knew it. It's just like you can't even comprehend as a 20-year-old like what's going to happen. But you grow so much as a person, I feel, in those years. It's just like you actually work out like, hang on a second, there's not everyone's out to look after me here, you know.
Yeah.
You do grow up fast, I feel. I don't know if it was the same experience for you, but
For sure it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Grew 5 years in one, I feel. So
Yeah. It's definitely good. Good life experience.
awesome. I struggled the first 6 months, and then I met a couple of really good friends, and yeah, totally changed my
Good
perception
advice,
of it.
what Dean said, kind of thing.
Oh, I feel like you just need a bit of a support network. You know, I guess I obviously haven't won motocross championships or whatnot, but when I competed, you know, you can see, like, coming back onto what does it take to make it if anyone's looking to go to Europe. From my experience, you know, find yourself a good little small, you know, group of friends over there that have got your back and have no sort of personal gain to take from you, I think is a critical.
And that's how I lasted there for 4 years as well, because in my stint of going back and forwards, I made friends with this one family. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have made it past a year there full time, because they took me in like a son, and they were just my best mates, and I was there every day. So it was like having the family away from home.
Yep.
But apart, you know, without them, I would have been screwed for sure. But
Literally the same for me.
yeah, because I had them, I was able to just keep going and going and going until I was like, okay, I need to come home now.
So, Europe, road bike racing.
Yeah.
You're not just a salesman, mate, are you?
Well,
So,
now I am.
tell us a
I
bit
wasn't
about your
fast enough,
background.
mate. I got booted back to Oz.
Well,
But hang on, what class and stuff were you riding? I know you were living in England, but what were you racing at the time?
Yeah, so I did 2 seasons in the British Superbike Championship in the 600cc class. So it's kind of, British Superbikes is really competitive. Like,
Yep.
for anyone that doesn't know, British Superbikes, I think the year I was in it, like, there's so many guys that were, you know, top 10 guys that have gone on to, you know, World Superbike, World Supersport, Moto 2. Yeah, it was stacked.
Yeah,
like, it was
right.
so hard. I won an Australian 125 GP championships in 2009, did a couple of years of 600s, and then went over there. And I was, you know, pretty competitive in Australia. And I turned up at the first round, and I was, like, struggling to qualify, like, outside the top 40, just
Wow.
thinking, uh-oh. Like, oh, this is not good. Like,
These boys are serious.
yeah, I just couldn't believe it. And I was just so naive to the level that those guys race at over in Europe. Yeah, it was a steep learning curve, that's for sure.
crazy. So like towards the front here, and you go there,
Just nowhere.
another level.
Like,
and did you progress forward, or obviously?
yeah, 100%. Like, went through a lot with, you know, that's sort of where I touched on, you know, like getting good advice, having just those key people in your corner. I think I rode for 2 different teams, and they just both had absolutely no idea what they were doing. Essentially, in the road racing space, you are required to bring a funding with you to secure a spot. But for me, it was like, that's cheaper. The funding that I had to bring was a smaller amount than what it would cost to run as a privateer in Australia. So it was a bit of a no-brainer until you get there and you go, oh, like, my new bike is actually 3 years old and hasn't been maintained, and it breaks down on you every time you ride, and you go, oh yeah, like, these guys are just here to make some money. Like, they don't actually care about me at all.
Yeah.
So once I, you know, was around a little bit and worked that out, met some good people, got onto a more competitive bike, you know, just had people in my corner that, mate, that's like not how you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was just so oblivious.
Someone like people interested in helping you.
100%. Like, they got no vested interest in in taking anything from you. They're just good people that want to see you do well. Once that happened, there was a couple of standout rounds where it's like, I remember like the first time I rode for a team called Seaton Yamaha. It was off the back of just shocking results. And he said to me, he's like, mate, we're just going to go to the track that the next round is at. And I'm just going to make you do laps until your hands bleed. Like, you are going to know every square centimetre of this place, and you just don't bother coming in. So in England, they do like open track days where you can just turn up at 8 o'clock in the morning. They stop for half an hour for lunch, and it's just open track. Ride as much as you want.
Wow.
As much as you want.
Do they do that here?
No.
No.
So when I say that, you've gone through like 5 sets of tyres in a day.
Wow.
But that's exactly what I needed, as an Australian going over to Europe. The tracks are totally different, completely different, nothing I'd ever seen before. You're on a bike that, you're not familiar with. You're with people you're not familiar with. Like,
You're not going slow.
You just need to feel comfortable, I think. I don't know if it's the same in motocross.
Yeah.
But once I felt comfortable, I started to push. And once I started to push, I started going faster. And it kind of just snowballed from there. And from that ride day, I think I was just like way off the pace, but turned up first practice, bang, P3. After being like outside the top 30.
You just need to practice.
Just needed to feel comfortable, because you're turning up to, there's a lot of pressure.
And these guys have ridden this
world
track.
class. They know the track. It's a world class event. They've got their stuff absolutely dialed, and you go out in first practice trying to like put in a qualifier, and it's just you just make mistakes. It's just hopeless. I had no chance in hindsight. But yeah, it went better after that.
You're bringing back nightmares my first year in Europe.
Was it similar?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you go to the Grand Prix and you realise those guys are a lot faster than you expect, and then you put in a stomping lap. You used to get like pole here, and you're like, I don't see my name, so I'm not...
Is my transponder working?
Yeah. That would mean I'm not in the top 20 right now.
Oh my lord!
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine. Well, I can imagine that's me in Australia. But yeah.
Overall, you learn a lot as a person. That's for sure. I think that's why I've been able to, do well in the motorcycle industry from a business point of view. It's just like some of the people I dealt with over there at 20 years old. It's like I've not come across anything. It's been hard days running the dealership, and we've grown that to, started out with 2 sites to now 7, started out with like 25 employees to now 120, like huge growth in 3 years from when I sort of took over the dealership business. I've not had one day that has been harder than what some of the days over there were like.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So basically, did you take your racing mentality into business?
100%. Yeah, like the best I ever did, I feel like my career for racing got cut short a little bit because I learnt what I needed to know too late. And at the end of it, it's just like anyone can achieve this if you have the right mindset and the right work ethic to just improve. And like Dean, you've said, you just worry about yourself, worry about how to get better. And I've taken that mentality into our business and, what can we do better? Like as an organization, how can we provide more value? Like, how can we give back? How can we be an organization that people actually want to be a part of and be involved with? And it's relentless. It's every day, And as soon as you stop, as soon as you stop attacking, you're being attacked.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, just constantly trying to improve, I think is, would be the same with you.
Yeah, it's kind of same.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just
so, same attitude, different, competitive arenas, I guess you would say.
Yeah. All right. I have a pretty vivid memory of you racing Jeffrey Herlings in 2013. Give us a bit of insight on what it's like to race that man.
Who?
Oh, mate, that is bold. Man, racing Jeffrey, he blows your mind. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
I got to ride with him at the practice tracks a lot, and every single weekend. The guy's amazing, and he was a beast on an X2 bike. Like, he was so far ahead of us. I was the guy battling for second, and we just could not even see where he was on the track.
Yeah.
He was just next level good.
Crazy.
But yeah, actually, a fair racer though. Like, of all the guys that I raced against, he's the only guy in MXGP paddock that I didn't trade paint with, I reckon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's because you never seen him, mate.
Pretty well. I mean, I could pull a start though, and he made his way to the front without getting all nasty. Maybe because he was so much better.
Yeah.
But no, I did get to have a bit of a battle with him 2013. So at the Grand Prix that I won, I was on fire that weekend, and I was leading the qualifying race, and I was giving him a real hard time to get past me. And ultimately, it's not how I wanted to win the qualifying race, but he crashed trying to pass me. So that's kind of my claim to fame.
Small win.
Him and I were just gone.
Yeah.
Like I was riding on another level that I hadn't ridden on before.
Yeah.
And then he opened up the door the next day for a brand new Grand Prix winner, because apart from him on the MX2 field, no one else had won a Grand Prix.
That's outrageous.
So he got hurt. He went home, like dislocated
he
shoulder.
got hurt trying to pass.
Trying to pass me. Yep. And then I'm pretty sure all the boys didn't sleep the next day, that night for the next day, because everyone had a chance to win. But for some reason, I was cool as a cucumber, because at this time of the season, I was like, I'd done so much work and I just hadn't got the results that I wanted. So I was like, I just showed up at the race and I was kind of like, oh, well, what will be, it will be. And I didn't stress anything. And knowing how to win now, I look back at that and I realized how and why I won.
Yep.
Took all the emotion out of it, all the important stuff to winning. And I was able to just pull myself together and go 1-1 the next day and win the Grand Prix.
That's got to be the best feeling.
It was really cool. So looking back at that race, it was awesome. It was a shame I couldn't do it again, because I just didn't know how I did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that led into that race at Germany that you come to, James, only a few weeks later. So I just get better and better every weekend. I just got my bike really, really good before that Grand Prix, and then I just gained confidence week by week by week. And then at the Nations, I was going really fast, hauling ass on that 250.
Yeah, those 2 whole shots it was, wasn't it?
Two whole shots.
On the 250.
Yep, on the 250, and then and rode really solid. So that was just compound effect of getting confident and having a really good bike at the end of the season.
Yeah, that was the year Roxon was on fire on the KDM and Tomac did the catapult over the big roller, didn't he? Jumping into the fence. I remember that year.
Yeah, that's right. So.
I was there and I don't remember that.
Must have been at the bar.
I don't know what I was doing. It was not watching the race.
Yeah, I've watched that race a few times actually. So that's got to be a pretty crazy mindset going to the line. And he won. So did he win every race except that one that year, pretty much?
Yeah, and then the next weekend he couldn't line up either.
Okay.
So there was a chance to win again, and I actually stomped him in Moto 1 and then just binned it in Moto 2. It was so silly.
Yeah.
Lost the Grand Prix, handed it to someone else. And just looking back, it's just because I didn't know how to back it up.
Yeah, okay.
And it took me quite a few years to work that out.
Well, that would have kind of set you up when you came back here and you were the top dog, you were the Jeffrey Herlings kind of thing over here.
Well, kind of, but not really. You know, when I'd come back and I'd had all this experience and I'd won a Grand Prix, I still hadn't won an overall in Australia.
And is that a big hurdle for you you think you've podiumed in the MXGP, you've one of the only guys to win a race over Jeffrey Herlings in Europe, and you come to Australia and go, oh, I haven't won here. Is that different to...
Oh, it was huge. It was like this monkey on my back.
Okay.
Like no one realised how big of a deal it was for me. I just hadn't won anything. I hadn't won no championships. Like I'd won motos, had never won an overall.
Okay.
I just did not know how to put it together, and that was the reason I went with CDR, because I knew that Craig Dack knew something that I didn't know at that point. And
massive support network.
At that point in my career, I was like, I need some good advice, and so I just went, this guy's going to help me. And I sorted it out. I won my first national overall in 2016. Yeah. And then that year was tough, but I ended up winning the championship. And then from there, I just kind of worked on the formula and just kept going from there. So
yeah, I remember you had a good battle with Gibbsy that year. Gibbsy had the number 1 plate from the year before, and that was a tight battle. It was the last moto at Coolum, wasn't it?
It was. It went down to the last moto, and
a lot of pressure there.
Heaps of pressure, man. I just felt like the weight of the world on my shoulders. Literally slept for 2 weeks after that race, because it was just like 10 or 15 years of me trying to do it, and then I finally did it. And then I don't know, just
Stress come down.
The stress come,
Yep.
just was getting released from my body, and I was just still, I was just zonked out at home. Everything went into it, and it was just it was amazing to do. But then after that, like the riding just becomes so much more enjoyable and easier, and I could just focus on the little things and just know that I knew how to do it then.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? So
Got the monkey off the back, as you
yeah,
said.
just working on all the little things that make you a better rider.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. So pretty much I've got one more question before we wrap up. So people may see you coming back, you're riding with a bike shop, think, oh, maybe he's here for a Sunday cruise. What are your intentions for the 2023 Pro MX season?
I'm pretty sure you guys have picked up that I'm gonna come back all in. The goal is to be better than I ever have been. Honestly, I believe I can do that. And talking about teaming up with James, got a lot of experience and a lot of good advice when I need it. And then he was able to help me get the products that I wanted on the bike, which was really important. So every product you see on the bike is what I wanted, and that's what I believe is the best.
Yeah.
And these are the things I needed to help me achieve that goal of being better than I ever have been. So if I just focus on me and do that, hopefully the end result is what I think it'll be. But honestly, I'm here to enjoy my riding, feel the flow on the bike, which I am already. It's actually really pleasant to go riding and also have a good time. And that's the reason I've reached out to Brisbane Motorcycles, because they're having a good time. We're doing these tours together. We're going to do other stuff together.
Yeah.
Man, we just keep coming up with ideas to do cool stuff. So
yeah, well, there's going to be a documentary series on nearly every round, I believe. So that'll be
It's the plan.
That'll be the plan. So keep an eye on that on YouTube. But thanks for coming in, Dean.
Yeah,
and
I think a happy Dean's a fast Dean. So if we just have fun,
Should be good.
should be all right.
yeah, I think everyone's shaking in their boots, mate. You've let them know now.
I thought we finally got rid of this guy.
Yeah, no, he's back.
Nah, I'm
What a pest.
I'm not. That's it. I'm not gonna retire again. It's a bad joke. So if you ever see me in the future, not line
He
up.
just
at the
stopped
start
showing
gate.
up.
If I stop showing up, they're like, okay, it might be over. But no, I love it, and honestly, my body feels good. I'm rejuvenated from a holiday and just doing things fresh and doing it different. It's not the same old thing every year. Looking forward to it. It's going to be good.
Alrighty, well, thanks, boys. Thanks for the chat. We'll wrap it up there, and we'll continue with some more stuff in the future. Keep an eye out for that, and yeah,
See you again next time.
too easy.
Thank you.